Ever wander onto a movie set, like maybe you snuck in as a kid, and wondered what goes on before the stars even show up?
It's not just coffee and donuts, though those are definitely a part of it. The real magic starts with the stand-ins. They're kind of the unsung heroes, you
Well,
know?
and we've got a ton of info here from RoleCatcher, their whole career guide on being a stand-in, some job postings, even AI interview prep. So we're really doing a deep dive today.
It's fascinating, actually. RoleCatcher really goes beyond just describing the job. They get into the why, what makes this a good career move, which is really key for anyone thinking about it.
Absolutely. So the guide starts strong, what they do, and they make it clear right away there's more to being a stand-in than just, well, standing there.
It's like they say you're the actor before the actor. Lighting, camera angles, blocking, all that gets ironed out with the stand-in first, which saves everyone time and headaches later.
Blocking, meaning how the actors move through a scene, right? Like the choreography of a film.
Exactly. And the stand-in helps solidify that, so to speak, working directly with the director to make sure every movement, every step fits within the frame and flows smoothly.
So while, say, Leo's off getting his hair perfect, someone else is literally standing where he will be, letting the crew get the lighting just right. It's precision work.
It is. And it requires some surprising skills. Rolecatcher talks about communication, script comprehension, being able to adapt on the fly, even mimicking acting styles. Can you believe that?
Whoa, hold on. Mimicking acting styles.
Yeah.
So it's not just hitting your mark. You have to embody the character to a certain extent.
That's what they're saying. They've got a whole section on core skills, and social perceptiveness is high on the list. A good stand-in, they can read an actor, pick up on their mannerisms, their energy, and mirror it. Helps the crew anticipate their needs, you see.
It's like being a behavioral chameleon. And to think all this is happening off camera, the audience never sees it.
Exactly. It makes you appreciate the whole movie-making process in a new way, doesn't it?
It does. So we've talked about but what about the nitty-gritty? Like any job, there are pros and cons, right?
Definitely. And Rolecatcher doesn't sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, working alongside famous actors sounds glamorous, but it's long hours, often unpredictable conditions.
Yeah, they don't beat around the bush. You really have to be dedicated. But if you are cut out for it, what does the career path even look like? Is it all just gig work, or is there room to grow?
That's where it gets interesting. Rolecatcher has a whole career progression section. It goes from entry level all the way up to lead stand-in. They even break down each stage, showing it's a viable career path, not just a stepping stone.
Okay, so you might start by what? Observing, assisting with equipment, getting a feel for how a set operates.
Exactly. And then as you move up to, say, a junior stand-in, you're taking on more responsibility, maybe coordinating schedules, ensuring things run smoothly, even collaborating with the actors directly.
And this is where that deep understanding of the script comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. The example profile, it even mentions anticipating the actor's needs, which means knowing the scene backwards and forwards. You can't be fumbling with your lines or asking what happens next when the director's ready to go.
You become the script whisperer. And then you've got the senior stand-in. They're practically an extension of the director, right?
It seems that way. That profile talked about planning and executing setups.
Setups being how the cameras are positioned, the lighting, the props.
Exactly. And the senior stand-in uses their experience to make sure it all matches the director's vision.
From mimicking actors to practically becoming part of the director's brain trust. It's a journey.
Hmm.
But we can't forget the peak, the lead stand-in.
Ah, yes. The maestro of the stand-in orchestra. They're responsible for the whole team, making sure everyone's performance aligns with the director's vision.
Wow, that's a huge responsibility. Which brings us back to those core skills. And RoleCatcher, they put a lot of emphasis on communication, but it's more nuanced than that, isn't it?
It's not just about talking to people, it's active listening, picking up on cues, understanding how communication works on a busy film set where things move fast.
And doing all that while staying calm under pressure, because let's face it, movie sets can be hectic.
No doubt about it. And that's where all these skills become so valuable, even outside of the film industry. Rolecatcher does a good job of highlighting that, how what you learn as a stand-in can be applied to all kinds of careers.
They even have links to guides for actors, stunt performers, singers. It's like they're saying, look, if you thrive in this kind of environment, here are some other avenues you might love.
It's about connecting the dots, seeing how your experience, even in a niche role like this, can open doors you might not have expected.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we have to talk about that RoleCatcher.capture plugin. It almost sounded too good to be true.
I know, right? It's a game changer, especially if you're tired of juggling multiple job sites and bookmarking everything. Imagine this. You're on Indeed, and you see a stand-in position that's perfect. One click, and it saves straight to your RoleCatcher dashboard.
No more copying and pasting, losing applications. It's like having a personal assistant for your job hunt. It really is. No more like 20 tabs open trying to keep track of everything.
Exactly. It keeps things streamlined.
So they're taking the pain out of the job hunt and letting you focus on what really matters.
Which is showcasing your skills and experience, exactly. And that's really where RoleCatcher shines, you know? They're really invested in helping people build careers in entertainment, which is a tough field.
No doubt about it. And it makes you think, behind every great movie, every TV show you love, there's this whole army of talented people working behind the scenes.
It's true. We see the actors, the directors, but there's a whole universe behind them.
And if a role, like a stand-in, which honestly, how many people even think about that role? If that takes a unique set of skills, the dedication, the problem solving,
Oh, absolutely.
imagine the expertise involved in all the other behind-the-scenes jobs.
It's amazing when you really think about it.
Like the set designers,
Yeah.
transforming these empty spaces into these believable worlds, or the costume designers, right?
Aha!
Creating a whole character through clothes. And what about the sound editors? They shape the entire mood with sound. It's incredible.
It's mind-blowing. And each role, even the ones that seem small, they all come together to make the final product.
It's like this perfectly choreographed dance, but it's happening on a soundstage, behind the camera, in the editing bay, everywhere.
And that's what's so cool about it, right? It's all about collaboration. You have all these talented people, and they all come together, working together to tell a story.
Okay, but before we go too far down that rabbit hole, we have to talk about the AI interview prep stuff. AI is everywhere these days, but how's it helping someone, say, become a stand-in?
So imagine having a personal coach, but for job interviews. That's what this is. RoleCatcher's AI, it looks at job descriptions, figures out what they're probably going to ask you, and then helps you tailor your answers to that specific job.
So it's not just giving you generic tips. It's like, here's how to nail this interview for this exact role.
Exactly. And they've even got a section on common stand-in interview questions broken down by experience level.
Oh, that's smart.
Like an entry-level question might be, tell me about a time you had to adapt to a last-minute change. But a senior stand-in, they might get, how would you handle a disagreement between a director and an actor about the blocking?
Ooh, good one. Talk about a high-pressure situation.
Yeah.
You need some serious diplomacy skills to handle that. It makes you wonder, though, were there always stand-ins, even back in the early days of Hollywood?
You know, that is a great question. But unfortunately, our RoleCatcher treasure trove of information doesn't really delve into the history of the role.
Ah, so that remains a mystery for now. But we do have their breakdown of the different career stages, which seems super helpful for anyone serious about this path.
It's a fantastic resource. They lay it all out, 4 distinct stages: entry level, junior, senior, and then, of course, the lead stand-in. And for each stage, they give you the typical responsibilities, but then they also have this profile, like a first-person account from someone actually doing the job.
That's so helpful. It's one thing to read a list of duties, but to hear it from someone who's living it every day, that makes it real.
Right, so you're not just getting the theory, you're getting a glimpse of what your average Tuesday morning might actually be like.
Exactly. So at the entry level, it seems like it's a lot of observation, right? Assisting with equipment, getting a feel for how things run on set.
Yeah, it's all about learning the ropes, being a sponge. They even talk about the importance of having a positive attitude, which, let's be real, that's important in any job, but especially one where the hours are long and the stakes can be high.
Totally. Then you move up to junior stand-in, you're getting more responsibility. Coordinating stuff, making sure things go smoothly, even working directly with the actors.
And that's where that deep knowledge of the script is key. The example profile, I think it even said something about anticipating the actor's needs, which means you got to know that scene inside and out.
Right. You can't be fumbling around with the script asking, wait, what happens next? When the director's ready to shoot.
Exactly. And then you've got the senior stand-in. They're basically like an extension of the director's team by that point. They were talking about planning and executing setups, remember?
Right, and by setups, we mean what? The cameras, the lighting, props, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And at that level, they're using their experience to make sure it all lines up perfectly with what the director has in mind.
From mimicking actors to basically being in the director's head. It's wild.
Right.
But we can't forget the top of the mountain, The lead stand-in.
Ah, yes. They're like the conductor of the orchestra. They're guiding the entire team, making sure everyone is on the same page, that the performances all fit with the overall vision for the film.
They really are the conductor. It's a lot of pressure, but so cool. And it speaks to just how much goes into this one role.
Definitely not just standing around.
No, not at all. Which makes you think even more about all those other behind-the-scenes roles we were talking about.
Right, like we only scratched the surface.
I mean, think about it. If being a stand-in takes that much skill and dedication, imagine the expertise needed for all those other jobs we never even see.
It really makes you appreciate the whole filmmaking process, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It's like we see the finished movie, but we don't always think about the hundreds of people who made it happen.
It's a team effort, for
Yeah.
sure. Everyone from the set designers to the costume department, the sound engineers, everyone plays a part.
And if you're someone who's fascinated by all that goes on behind the scenes, RoleCatcher really does seem like the perfect place to start.
They've got everything, all the info on different careers, the tools to help you find jobs, even the AI interview prep to give you an edge.
They're really trying to empower people, which is great to see.
It is. It's not just about like throwing job postings at you. It's about giving you the resources you need to build a career you love, which is amazing.
It really is. So to wrap things up, I think the big takeaway here is whether you're dreaming of being in the spotlight or happy to be behind the scenes, the world of film and TV is full of incredible opportunities.
It is. You just have to know where to look.
And maybe check out RoleCatcher while you're at it. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Huge thanks to you, as always, for breaking it all down with us.
Anytime. I always love a good behind-the-scenes look at the film industry.
Me too. And for everyone listening, thanks for joining us, and be sure to check back soon for our next deep dive.